first thing that Plato did was to uh, demonize or delegitimize other ways of thinking or speaking of or knowing, in terms of that do not go through logic, critical thinking, or anything like that, and how we actually moved from what used to be beauty, art, harmony with nature, and all of this, because it calls on your feelings, it calls on your emotion to actually, because emotion and feeling and things like that are spiritual stuff. That's how you connect, that's how you relate. Because anything, because spirituality, people think is very abstract. It might sound abstract, but spirituality is a very concrete thing. Everything that, for example, when you love, can you touch love? You cannot touch love, but you just know I love this person. You just know I hate this person. You just know so those are things that are all the manifestation of spirituality. You can experience spirituality in everything. You can experience spirituality in sleeping. You can experience spirituality in walking, in talking, in eating, in making love, in anything. It is that ineffable thing that makes you be the way you are. That is what spirituality is. And the whole thing now is the attempt to be in that moment, the attempt to allow that thing to express itself, is what scares people like Plato and the Western way of thinking, because it's beyond your control. Therefore, it's scary. So you need to find a way to objectify it, to pull yourself, to extricate yourself out of it, in order for you to control it. Because if you still in harmony with it, right, then then there is that whole spiritual dynamic, the whole spiritual interaction where you're not controlled by it, it is not controlled by you, it is just allowed to exist, to be, and to be it. And that is uncomfortable for Plato's thing, because according to the author here, existence is so complex. It's a very complex thing to be, to live, to interact in this world. It's so complex, and one is complex, you don't necessarily understand. So Plato wanted to simplify it, to say, look, for anything to actually merit, deserve our attention or anything, it has to be able to be understood by us and explained by us. If it's beyond our understanding or explanation, then that thing does not help human emancipation, should be rejected. So they started with first discrediting ancient African writing, because they say it only stays in the form. It's too concrete. The hieroglyphics too concrete. It's not developed. It's not evolved. That is why it's not even spoken. It remains in just the written form and not even really practiced. And I was talking with my Chinese teacher here, who is really an older Chinese guy, Taiwanese guy, is like in his 70s something, and we were discussing about language, and I was telling him how the challenge for me learning Chinese is because it's different characters. If it was like Roman character or any of those characters like in French, English, German, Spanish, or all that, it would be easy for me because I'm good at languages. And then from there we started talking about original, and he was telling me how Chinese language is actually the most developed language and things like that, because of its nature and character, and it's very unique. That for them in the Chinese culture, they feel like Chinese writing is unique, is one, and every other writing is similar. And I was telling you, no, well, if you look at Indian writing is not Roman characters. If you look at Arabic writing, it's not Roman characters. So for me, it's all of that is just drawing stuff. It's like no, but they're not like Chinese. So, and I was like, well, but even in our ancient African, we had the hieroglyphics that are actually ancient, because he was telling me how Chinese writing is actually the most ancient writing. And I was saying, no. We have the hieroglyphics as the most ancient thing. And he did not deny it, but he just said, but the hieroglyphics are not developed. Chinese writing is developed. You see, so there is that. And again, coming back to the movie Black Panther, there is that understanding, that I don't want to say innuendo, but that stereotype. Like everything originated in Africa, everything black, everything that has anything African to it is either primitive, not developed, or not really important, right? They make some kind of. So I was like, how do you know? I understand we're not speaking it and everything, but have you really studied the hieroglyphics to be able to say that it's not a developed language? Like when it was actually the first one, the first developed language that writing that ever existed. Then everything else came after that. Have you studied that? But how then do you know that it's not developed, right? So there's that taken for granted that everything, black or African and everything, has no value. So try to just study a little bit the hieroglyphics. You'll be impressed, and how much knowledge is in there. It's just under exploited.